Hi students, this is Karimunisa Sayed, Associate Professor in Zoology. Don't forget to send your feedback to zoology.bcu@gmail.com. Welcome to session 29. In this session, we are going to learn the classification of phylum Echinodermata up to classes with suitable examples under the Zoology Paper 2, Nanka Data Paper Part 2. So why do we want to learn the general characters and classification of phylum Echinodermata? Only after learning varieties of animals among echinoderms with lot of variations in their bodies as and precise adaptation to their habits and habitat will be able to appreciate the remarkable creation of nature. And of course, it also helps us in the identification of various echinoderms. But of course, the prerequisite is the knowledge of the general characters of phylum Echinodermata. Of course, here we are going to follow the classification based on Hyman's classification. Libby Henrietta Hyman, she was a famous US zoologist. She is well known for her contribution to the animal taxonomy, and she has also authored number of books which are famous as L.H. Hyman volumes referred by various scientists all over the world. So according to her, the phylum Echinodermata is divided into two subphyla. The first subphylum is Palmatozoa and the second one is called Elythrozoa. So coming to the phylum Palmatozoa, which is derived from the Greek words palmatos means stalk, zois means animals. So these are stalked animals. They are found attached to the substratum with a stalk-like structure. That's why they don't show any locomotion and they are called sedentary animals. So all the palmatozoans, they are sedentary animals. They are not free living. And another important aspect is that this is a primitive subphylum. So thereby most of the echinoderms of this subphylum are extinct form. Thereby only few of them are living ones. But they can be identified because of the presence of mouth and anus on the same surface, that is called the oral surface, the surface which is away from the substratum because they are sedentary forms. Then they also have 2 feet but without sucker because locomotion is absent and they are sedentary. And they primarily use these 2 feet in the food catching. And under the subphylum Palmatozoa, we have only one living class. The class is Crinoidea. Again, krinon in Greek means lily, idios means forms. So these members therefore commonly called sea lilies and sea feathers. So this Crinoidea class includes living members, and these members of crinoids are again found attached to the substratum, usually to the bottom of the sea, with a arboreal stalk, root-like structures found on the arboreal end of the animal, which are sometimes also called cirri. On the arboreal surface, which is directed away from the substratum or which is directed upwards, usually mouth is present, which is centrally located. And also there will be anus, but anus is not central, that means it is slightly away from the center or eccentric, but anus is also present on the same surface, that is the oral surface. The remarkable feature of these animals is that arms are elongated, but these arms are highly movable because they are very simple, thin, branched with pinnules, and usually the arms are five in number, or sometimes they'll be further, each arm will be divided into two, so thereby they may be 10 in number also. And they also have these arms, they also have ciliated ambulacral grooves on their oral surface. As we have discussed, in the palmatozoans, we have 2 feet but without the suckers. Even in the crinoids, there are 2 feet without the suckers. That means the 2 feet are used only for the purpose of feeding, not for the locomotion. And again, we can note that though there is a water-vascular system, madreporite is absent. Similarly, spines and pedicellariae are absent. That means comparatively these animals are very soft. That is why some of them, they are called sea feathers, or Neometra is the sea feather, whereas Antedon is a sea lily. These are the two examples of the class Crinoidea. So you can see in the picture how the Antedon is seen found attached to the substratum, and it looks just like a plant. That's why these are animals are called sea lilies, and you can see the arms are also movable. So next subphylum is Elythrozoa. Here elythros means free in Greek, zoas, as we all know, refers to the animal. And these elythrozoans are mostly free living, but they are predaceous. That means they are carnivores. They prey on other animals. And they are also scavengers. That means they feed on dead and decaying matter which is present in the bottom of the sea. But here, as these are free living animals, stem or stalk is absent. Body is usually pentamerous. Mouth is located on the oral surface, which is downwards towards the substratum, and also with the ambulacral grooves. And they also have 2 feet with the suckers, indicating that they are free living and they use the 2 feet for the purpose of locomotion. Whereas the anus, madreporite, pedicellariae are usually on the arboreal surface. Elythrozoa has 4 living classes. Class Asteroidea. In Greek, aster means star, eidos means form. So starfishes or sea stars are with 5 arms and a central body disc. Mostly free living, they are slow creeping, predaceous, and scavengerous. Body is flat, that means dorsoventrally flattened or oroarborally flattened with a pentagonal structure or the pentamerous structure. And we'll be able to identify the oral and arboreal surface very clearly because both the surfaces are very distinct. They also have ambulacral grooves, 2 feet with suckers on the oral surface of each arm, whereas anus, madreporite, and stalked pedicellariae are present only on the arboreal surface. Sexes are separate, that means we have separate male and female individuals, that means they are unisexual, and gonads are arranged radially. So development includes larval forms like Bipineria larva and Brachyolaria larva. So because of these characters, we'll be able to identify the members of class Asteroidea. And and in this class we have the examples like Astrius, Astropecten, Echinoster and Helioster. So you can see in the picture Astrius and Astropecten, which is Astropecten is called red sand star. So coming to the next class under Eleutherozoa, that is class Ophiuroidea. Ophis means snakes. You all must be knowing Ophidia includes snakes. Eura refers to tail. You all must have heard about Urodila, Anura. So Eura refers to tail. Idios means forms. That means these animals have elongated snake tail-like arms. So these are nothing but the brittle stars. So these brittle stars, they have oroaborally flattened animal body similar to that of asteroids or sea stars, but here they have elongated, well-marked, long and slender arms. That's why they are called brittle stars, and because of the extreme elongation, the arms of these animals may easily be broken, which is nothing but autotomy. And these lost arms are regained by the process called regeneration. So they have a remarkable power of autotomy and regeneration. Similar to that of asteroids, here also the body is pentamerous, but usually they have a very distinct central disc which is round, but the ambulacral grooves may be absent or they may be covered by ossicle, that's why they will not be visible. And here also the two feet are present, but they are without sucker. That means they are not useful in the locomotion, but they are used only in the feeding process. But they do have the madreporite, which is located on the oral surface. And here the pedicellariae are absent, sexes are separate, that means they are also unisexual. We have the examples of brittle stars like Ophioderma and Ophiothrix. So these characters help us again in the identification of Ophiuroids. So here you can see an example of Ophiuroidea, that is Ophiothrix, with a pentamerous central disc which is well marked with elongated 5 radiating arms which are very thin and slender. That's why these are called brittle stars. Then coming to the next class, that is class Echinoidea. Echinos means, as we already know, refers to the spine, and idios means forms. So these are again well known for the presence of elongated calcareous spines. You all must have seen the sea urchins. So these animals, they have spherical or round body or dorsoventrally flattened disc-like body, or some of them they may be having oval shape or heart shape. But body is always enclosed in an endoskeleton which is made up of ossicles which are calcareous in nature, and all these ossicles, they are joined to each other or they will be closely fitted to each other, forming a powerful shell called test. And you will also see a lot of mobile spines and immobile spines attached to the test. So formation of test with the spines is a characteristic feature of these echinoids, like other some of the other echinoderms. The ambulacral grooves are covered by ossicles. Then 2 feet have suckers. Pedicellariae are stalked, and usually they have 3 jaws. Apart from that, a highly unique feature of this particular class is the presence of a chewing apparatus called Aristotle lantern. You can see here, which is located in the mouth. with teeth or the jaws, 5 teeth or the jaws. Here also sexes are separate, that means they are unisexual, and they have a distinct larval stage in their life cycle that is called Echinopluteus larva. We have very unique examples of, under the class Echinoidea. Those are nothing but sea urchins, which you can identify very easily because of the elongated spines and globular structure. Sand dollars, there is nothing but Clypeaster, which is dorsoventrally flattened, but you can see the pentamerous structure here. And heart urchins, they have heart shape, and urchin is nothing but the echinocardium. Echinus is a sea urchin. So these are the examples of class Echinoidea. Coming to the next class under Elythrozoa, that is class Holothuridia. In Greek, again, holothurian means sea cucumber and idios means forms. So these forms, they have elongated sea cucumber-like structure. They are also bilaterally symmetrical, usually elongated, cucumber-like. Arms and spines are absent. So thereby, body wall of these animals will be very soft and leathery. They have mouth at the oral end and anus near the arboreal end. So thereby, because of the elongated cucumber-like structure, they animal will have these animals will have an arboro-oral axis. And these, apart from this, these animals also have a well-developed respiratory tree around the mouth, which is highly branched structure. It helps in the process of respiration, which is again a unique feature of these holothuroidans. Here also the ambulacral grooves are concealed and 2 feet are without sucker. That means 2 feet are not utilized in the locomotion. We have the examples like Holothuria, Thyone and Cucumeria as examples under the class Holothuroidea. You can see in the picture some of the sea cucumbers. So at the end of the session, we can summarize that under the phylum Echinodermata, as per the Hyman's classification, we have two subphyla, that is subphylum Palmatozoa and subphylum Elythrozoa. Under the subphylum Palmatozoa, we have class Crinoidea, whereas under subphylum Elythrozoa, we have four subclasses: class Ophiuroidea, class Echinoidea, class Holothuroidea, and class Astroidea. So at the end of the session, here are some of the references which you may use for your further studies. Thank you.